who was up into 4th place, but I suspect in the straight line the turner might be attacked again by the more powerful 2.1 litre engine that's underneath the bonnet of the right TR. Leading pair together going to do it, I think, get up into 3rd place. He's going to run out of front, I suspect, by the time they get onto the start finish straight. He may not be in 3rd place. In fact, it's highly unlikely to be in 3rd place by the time they get towards Richie's corner. Leading pair go through. Mel Taylor leads from Richard Wheeler. Mel Taylor leads rather from Alan Tice in 2nd position. Luke Moss is there in 3rd place and is doing a damn good job, I've got to say, of hanging on to it. Eventually, the thundering great big Ford Falcon of Dan Williamson draws itself alongside. Luke Wass, however, is going to nick back through again on the exit and apex of the corner. And we'll have the inside line as they come out of Ritchie's. But I think, yeah, Dan Williamson again is utilising that power on the run down towards the braking area for the Wilson hairpin. However, right with him on the exit of the corner again is Luke Wass. Two entirely different cars, lots of power, not a great deal of handling for Dan Williamson, very little power, but a nice little handling car for Luke Wass, sitting there right behind at the wheel of that light blue Turner with its cream coloured roof. So a great little fight, and it's not just for 3rd and 4th and 5th, you could add 6th into it now, and maybe 7th as well, and 8th, because they're all starting to sort of queue up behind a little bit. Out into the race, I think that's Mike Flewitt only just heading out as well. So I'm not sure whether Matt Suckling could spot what had happened to that car, but car number 118 only just heading out there, and yeah, that is heading out onto its first lap of the race by the look of things. So that is another car that was a little bit late on parade. Now, we did start half an hour early, but drivers should usually make sure that they're ready for that. Maybe there was a problem with the car and they were just trying to work on it to ensure they could get it into the race at all. That being the case, they've managed to do so. Our race leader heading down through Brundle and Nelson, still with Tara Melvin. Marcos is struggling to keep pace with the race leader. Dan Williamson having started Richard Wheeler right behind them. Now then the yellow motors, which will be the next of the cars that's behind it. Places on the first lap. So he has done a great job of working on 7 laps qualifying, so not many of those. Because they had a problem. In fact now, yeah, here comes number 42, Lyndon Griffin, past Neil Howe in a straight line, past the Triumph TR4 and gains another place. So Lyndon Griffin up another 4 places on that lap. So 17 places gained in 2 laps for Lyndon Griffin. He's now up into 6th position. Mel Taylor opening up a 3-second gap between himself and Alan Tice's Marcos that sits behind. Then there's 7.5 seconds gap between that and Dan Williamson's Ford Falcon. And I'm going to keep an eye on that Falcon because it has already made progress from 12th on the grid. It's now up to 3rd, and at the moment on that lap was only 0.3 of a second quicker than the Marcos, but as far as Dan Williamson is concerned, handling that Ford Falcon as quickly as he can is allowing him to very slightly close the gap on Alan Tice and the Marcos in 2nd. So our race leader will be propelling himself along the Bentley Straight. Mel Taylor having almost made good his escape now over the Marcos of Alan Tice there in 2nd position. There goes Mel underneath the vehicle bridge, in towards the left and the right flicks of Brundle and Nelson. It's a 3-second gap, 1st to 2nd. I'm not sure it's way, and Dan Williamson is not making inroads in 3rd place. Richard Wheeler goes through in 4th place, Lyndon Griffin in 5th position, gaining 1 more place on that lap. Right, pushing as hard as he could, trying to make it 2 places again. Richard Wheeler over the course of this lap. Richard, of course, will hand that car over to the redoubtable Mike Bushell, whereas Lyndon Griffin will jump out of the car and hand it over to Nigel Adams for part 2 of the race. Good fights going on further down through the order as well. So Billy Nairn is looking to try and attack the MGB that was right alongside him as they went over the start-finish line. That's the number 55 car, I think, of Mark Hope. Yeah, the light blue car. That's for 16th and 17th positions. But our race leader is just turning his way round through Oggies on lap number 4. Mel Taylor leading the race, but nobody with any additional time penalties to worry about come the pit stop window. The pit stop window doesn't open until 20 minutes into the race, so it's still another 11 and a half minutes away from opening as yet, so plenty of time for Mel Taylor just to keep pushing as hard as he can. It's 60-minute Mintex Classic K race. Then we saw them out at Thruxton. Just to be a quick look through what we did. We finished in the 15th position at Thruxton. Ostensibly better here, it was 2 laps off the lead at Thruxton. But really did have the basic qualifying for pole position quite a chunk as well. He was 2 seconds quicker, 2.010 seconds quicker than anybody else managed over the qualifying session. So thank you very much in a class of his own. Lotus, it's a little bit late to ride into the race. I think the advantage has grown. 7 seconds. The race did the fastest lap of the race we've seen so far. So on lap number 4, 2 minutes 21.903 for Mel Taylor. Alan Tice, Dan Williamson, trying to keep Lyndon Griffin behind the wheel of the yellow Lotus. There's no way that the door is open sufficiently for Lyndon to crack the nose of the Series 1 Elan up the inside of the Lotus Cortina of Richard Wheeler. So that's ahead. Braking area now, Tom. Wilson hairpin. Still Lotus Cortina just ahead of Lotus Elan. Both running the twin cam engine. Now I can briefly see a yellow flag somewhere there, and yeah, at Palmer there is a yellow flag. I can just see the top of it from my commentary position, which suggests that somebody has come to grief, either at Palmer or on the way out of Palmer. We'll pick up as to who might be dropping through the order, and I think it's the number 76 car that's gone missing, I'm afraid, which will be Stephen Tilburn, because that car has now, as good as, dropped down towards the very tail end of the order, I'm afraid. So, yeah, it's lost 10 places and keeps dropping down through the order, so that would suggest that's why the yellow flag was and still is out at Palmer. So we've lost one somewhere. 8 minutes race to go. Can reappear into my view, heading up towards Corham too much longer. He's got clear track ahead. He's dealt with the first few bits of back markers at the beginning of this lap. Lead advantage position, Richard Wheeler having to work overtime to try and keep the charging Lyndon Griffin behind. Remember, the yellow Lotus that sits there in 5th place has come from 23rd position on the grid up to 5th place. So either way, great stick. Lyndon Griffin, 2 Lotus. He's there in number 6 with Ross at the wheel of the Turner. 7 is Johnny Kent at the wheel of the 115. Dark green Lotus with the yellow stripe down the centre of it. The front heel 4 of Neil Howe is now in 8th place. The first of the minis, the white one, number 711 is 9th, and 10th at the moment is the TVR Grand Tourer, the Mark II Grand Tourer of Dave Thompson. They came that car after John Wolfe for part 2 of the race. We should also see them out, maybe, at the wheel of their TVR Griffith, maybe, over the course of the weekend, but that's one they usually appear in swinging 60s, and I don't think I saw them in that qualifying session. And so 5 laps already having been completed by the race leader, who is now already down at the bottom section of the circuit, just about to head round through Brundle and Nelson. 6 minutes just over before the pit window opens. Mel Taylor, because he hasn't got another driver to worry about, pressing on. Mel Taylor and doing the driver change nice and early on. For Alan Tice giving way to Chris Connolly. Those are both 2 equally quick drivers, I would suggest. Huge amount of experience from both of them. Chris Connolly.
Just came over to me and said, do you know who went off? Someone's disappeared. I went, is it your car? He went, yeah, it's my car. So he thinks it's that one as well over there because it hasn't come back round, as he said. So James Carter's not very happy. It's his car. He said, it wasn't me that did it, but it's my car. So we'll see what state that is in when Steve can
I can't see the cars. I don't know whether it's a mechanical issue or whether it's an off into the barriers. I simply don't know. I can't see it. So
that's why I said to James, that's the only part of the circuit we cannot see. It's just one corner on the circuit, so he's going to go and have a look now.
Side by side, another one, Richard Wheeler, and this time it worked. So up to 4th position now for the Lotus of Lyndon Griffin from 23rd on the grid. What a drive that has been so far. Nigel Adams will take over that car. Now Richard Wheeler owns the car that's just lost the position, has dropped from 4th to 5th, but he's got the pro, Mike Bushell, I'm sure eager to get behind the wheel of that car. He might be able to do. Maybe that might be one of the cars, 30 miles, but maybe Richard Wheeler wants to stick the paid hand in for the day. Mike Bushell, who says back behind the wheel for the first time in many months, and yeah, he is the quicker of the 2, so common sense would tell you stick him in as soon as you possibly can, but that is still 4.5 minutes away from being able to happen, I'm afraid. As for our race leader, a bit more traffic that he's going to have to do. Brundle and Nelson, I would have thought, before too much longer. Lost track of where it would be on track. Yes, it will. He'll be heading through down towards Brundle and Nelson. And not necessarily on this lap, but maybe the one thereafter. He might start to get himself mixed amongst a little bit more traffic. So he's got to keep pressing on while the track is clear. He's not going to catch any more. Seconds from number 19, Alan Tice, who has got 7.2 seconds in hand between himself and Dan Williamson, number 69, who's in 3rd place. And for the 12 seconds off that is going to be 42, who's up into 4th position. 5th is going to be 6th is Johnny Kent, who's now in at the beginning of the last lap. So Ross has now dropped down into 7th position. 8th place is 420, which is Neil Howe. 9th is 63, Dave Thompson. Lawrence Ward is top 10. He's only 0.4 of a second to drift. TDR that lies ahead of him. Thank you very much. I like people that bring refreshments in the commentary box. It's nice. Thanks, mate. You passed this lap of the race last time through. Not for the race leader though. For Alan Tice in the charging Marcos in 2nd position. And that is a 2 minutes 21.96 for Alan Tice. 20 seconds up the road. But it was a good lap nonetheless. There goes the scrabble I was talking about for the final place inside the top 10 over the start-finish line. Dave Thompson at the wheel of the TVR Grand Tourer Mark III, the iris blue coloured car, under pressure from Lawrence Moore. Lawrence 0.6 of a second behind.
No, it opened up by 0.2 of a second, so now pretty evenly managed to say the least.
We've also had a change for 7th and 8th on that lap as Neil Howe has put the Triumph TR4 back ahead of Luke Wass's Turner again. So that was a slower lap from Luke. Yeah, much slower than he's been doing. That's about 6 seconds slower, so that's more than traffic, I would have thought. Mistake in the car. Maybe just a little problem with it. As we're going so well in the early stages of the race. And there goes Neil Howe already, not just having got past the Turner, but already has gapped it. It does make you wonder as to whether there is a small issue with the Turner that Luke Wass is struggling with at this stage. The pit window is going to open in just over 60 seconds time as well, so 41 minutes of the race to go. 40 minutes to go, the pit window will land open. That's the point at which I suspect we might see Richard Wheeler at the wheel of the 5th place now. Lotus Cortina coming to the pit lane. So through goes our race leader. Mel Taylor leading, another new fastest lap of the race for the 2nd place car of Alan Tice that time through, so the gap comes down by another just over half a second, 0.6 of a second. No, sorry, 1.4 seconds it comes down by, 1.4 seconds that time through, so Alan Tice can see the target just up the road. He knows that maybe his target might be running out, so he's giving everything that he can to try and have the car. The order shuffle that of course his lap times have dropped away. It's a point open, yeah, but Neil Howe is coming to the pit lane. Now the pit window is open, but a few seconds before the pit window opens and car number 420 is in the pit lane. Now is this for the stop? If it is, it has been ill-timed, I'm afraid. Luke Wass comes into the pit lane and his pit window is open. It was literally only a matter of seconds for Neil Howe, but I thought
where it needs to be, so yeah, I think he's a bit confused. Is Neil at the minute, but the team trying to tell him to pull in and have a quick chat to him to find out if there is a problem. I think there is with that car because it kind of worked its way begrudgingly to the right hand side. As you mentioned as well, Luke Wass is into the pits in car number 6. The bonnet comes up on that one. Just making my way to that now. Hopefully there's not too much of a problem.
That's Richard Wass, Luke's father, and he might have an idea because the Turner have gone off the boil a little bit. It was going so well. It seemed to lose a little bit of pace, which suggests that as it comes down, I just saw from Richard Wass there, which suggests there is indeed a problem for the little Turner. So maybe Matt might be able to find out a little bit more about that. We've also got in somewhere down the pit lane car number 8. Finish line, which is going nowhere, I'm afraid, and that is meaning we've got localised yellows because car number 201, which is Patrick Kennelly's car, has pulled over directly opposite the pit lane, I'm afraid. So throw a blind eye to coming into the pit lane seconds before the window opens remains to be seen. And news regarding the Turner, Matt?
Yeah, just had a quick word with Luke inside the car. The car is losing water, which is never good. So could be done for that car. Let's see if it's left. They might give it one more go, but if it's losing water, it's never a good idea to take it back out. So I think Luke has been told that yeah, it could be done. So he heads to the outer paddock, and that car, fortunately enough to qualify really well inside the top 10, is now out of this race.
Yeah, such a shame. was, and of course, with all of the cars having to run period specification, there's only so much you can do in terms of increasing the cooling to them, and putting extra fans on them and bits and bobs is not something that you really want to do today. So, unfortunately for Luke Ross, the drive was running tight for wasn't it? At one point Luke Ross, and it's going to be a minute, I'm afraid. So 9 laps already have been completed by our race leader, and a few more now dying for the pit lane. So it looks as though into the pits has come Johnny Kent. Got a little stint put in by him at the rear of about 26 are. They're going to hand over to Peter Barnard. There was no long more has now come into the pit lane. It's one of the 707 in Chris Lewis Ginetta. The G12 is in, and then I can also spot another MGB, the one that's towards my end of the pit lane. Pit lane exit is nice and easy to spot. That's the George and Russell Martin car. Sounds probably didn't have the starting gun. So I think that's another 55 car that's down at the bottom end of the pit lane. So race still continuing. The car that will have hitted another great lap put in by Alan Tice has seen him not just catch, but get past Mel Taylor. So it is now number 19, the Marcos of Alan Tice, that leads the race and set a new fastest lap on that lap, 2 minutes 20.850. And not only did he set that new fastest lap on the same lap, he also took up the lead of the race. So Corp got past, wasn't compromised, new fastest lap, Bosch, I'm in the lead. Taylor down to second. In second place, Falcon is there in third, and into the pit lane comes Richard Wheeler. So Richard Wheeler is in at the wheel of the Lotus Cortina. This is right the way at pit lane exit end, where he will hand the car over to Mike Bushell. It's alive in the hands of Richard Wheeler, because he was having to make it alive because he was pushing so hard. He'll come ever more alive in the hands of Mike Bushell.
Yeah, certainly. Well, I was just on my way down to the Mini of Lawrence Walk, because that is stationary with the bonnet up and Lawrence out of the car, so there may be a problem with that one, so I'll investigate in a few seconds. But as you said, Richard Wheeler is now out of his Cortina, and it's Mike Bushell to jump in to do the next part of this race. And when you were mentioning Mike just before the race got underway, he was looking right at me, and as you were talking to him, he was like, that's me, you're talking about me. And he seemed very happy, so that's good news for Mike, and let's hope they get a really good result out today as well. But Mike, you know, he's a touring car star. He's done really well. I think he got drafted in last year, didn't he, to do some rounds in the Civic. Was that correct?
That's correct, yeah.
So he's raring to go once again. Richard is here. We can't speak to him, but I'll have a quick chat with Richard on microphone and just find out how the car's going and all the rest of it. But Mike's about to fire that one up. And as I said, there's some dramas with the Mini down there in Lawrence Walk, so I'm going to investigate that one as well.
Yeah, just come at me as and when you can, Matt. So there we go. It's about to head out onto the circuit. It really would be great if they get a good result. It'd be nice to see a big smile on Mike Bushell's face, because it's more than he deserves at the moment. So he's in the pit lane, which is, I think it's being Dennis and Daniel. It's Dennis that's got out. It's Daniel that's just getting behind the wheel, and it means that we've still got a few of the cars that still need to complete their mandatory pit stops. 2 Marcuses going at the start-finish line together. They are not fighting for position, because the Tice Conley car, Alan Tice behind the wheel of it, the number 19 car, leads the race and sets another new fastest lap of the race. That time through. So just keep pushing on all of the time. We've still got another 13.5 minutes of the pit window opening. The number 19 Marcos now leads 62 miles.